If you look out into the 21st century, what are some of the best possible things that could happen in the region and globally with China at the center of the world stage? What are the possible trajectories you could see culturally, economically, politically, in terms of partnerships and all this kind of stuff?
It's such a hard moment to be imagining these things. I mean, I've long wanted to see a return of China to this path toward a more kind of yeah, I wasn't one of the people who imagined that there would be this convergence of in sort of where China's emergence into evolution into a liberal capitalist kind of country. But I'd love to see a return to that more kind of tolerance of diversity within China, variations within China, of more space for civil society. And it's a hard time to even imagine that because Hong Kong kind of represented that place that was somehow within it was an amazing thing. I think looking backward, sorry, rather than forward, I think it's really extraordinary how much leeway was given to Hong Kong for a period there. That was really special. No Communist Party run country had ever had a city within it that had as free a press as Hong Kong had then, as much tolerance for protests. And I think it was a I mean, I hope it can be seen by some, at least within Beijing, as a miscalculation too. The people of China wanted soft power, and Hong Kong films were admired around the world. This industry, there was a way in which creativity flourishing. So I guess it would be just the hope for more spaces where that kind of creativity and openness to debate where things can flourish. I'd love to think that there actually are a variety of things in Taiwan that if those could become broader norms, not that Taiwan's perfect, it has its own internal problems, but there are many really attractive things about it right now. Different kinds of things that flourish. Um, so maybe a setting in which Taiwan and in its post martial law, post Leninist incarnation um, would be something that we could think of more.
Yeah, and you're right. Taiwan and especially Hong Kong are these. It's a truly special place. It's a case study. It doesn't make sense that that would happen, but it happened. I mean, history is full of wonderful things like this. And I guess, can you clarify? You think the protests of 2019, like the protests in 20, they're mostly a failure? Is there still a possibility that Hong Kong like rises and its way of life, its way of being, the democratic ideals, not necessarily full on democracy or this kind of thing, but would actually, in a sense, um, permeate China, not the other way around?
So that was a hope early on, and there were ways in which some parts of Hong Kong style even sort of permeated across the border. I think it's hard to see it now with how Hong Kong has changed, but I hesitate to. I mean, an awareness of the unpredictability of things. There's no way to know what kind of thing there would be for Hong Kong later. I do think there are things about Hong Kong that even in the failure of the movement have had repercussions that are not all negative. I think the Hong Kong spirit, which is being kept alive in diaspora communities around the world, is really interesting. There are things that are spreading. I think Hong Kong represented a vision of a different way of being Chinese, a different notion of Chineseness. And I think that is something that exists. And there have been protesters in a lot of other parts of the world, Belarus to, I used to say from Minneapolis to Minsk, because in 2020 there were protests in the US and in Belarus where there were activists who were talking about the Hong Kong idea of sort of trying to focus on be water, more flexible protest tactics, something. And clearly in Thailand, there were people who looked at things to learn from Hong Kong, even in defeat. There's a New Zealand-based China specialist, Jeremy Barmay, who talks about the other China, which can exist within China, physical China, or elsewhere, which is this um, equally attached to Chinese traditions, but thinking of those traditions as including not just Confucianism, but Taoism, not just hierarchy, but also openness to cosmopolitanism, not just nationalism, but cosmopolitanism. And I think there are some elements of that that even in failure, the Hong Kong movements, the Hong Kong protests of the 2020s were a last flourishing of that. And we can see some elements of that in we can think of Taiwan, elements of that as another China as well. Um, and I think recovering, not allowing the particular version of Chineseness that the Chinese Communist Party under Xi Jinping wants to make people think of as the essence of China has multiple cultural strands, multiple traditions that people can tap into, and it's something richer and more admirable, I think, than this narrowed down version.
And I hope for a future where both Hong Kong and Beijing have bookstores that carry 1984, Brave New World, and all of your books. And I can't wait to visit them and enjoy the intellectual flourishing of incredible people. What a beautiful world we live in. The Chinese people, all the people I've met, it's just so great to interact with a totally different culture. You can feel the roots run deep through ancient history that are very different. And it's amazing. It's like amazing that Earth produced Chinese people, Indian people, the Slavic people. There's just all kinds of variants. And we all have our own weirdnesses and quirks and so on. Everybody has brilliant people. We all start shit with each other every once in a while. But I hope now that we have nuclear weapons, and I hope now that we have technology that connects us, we'll actually collaborate more than we fight each other. And thank you for being one of the people that shows off the beauty of this particular peoples. It's of the entire region, really, of Southeast Asia. And it's an honor to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on.